Hello, welcome in another important video. I hope you all are doing great. In this video, let's try to understand use of CMD instruction in our Docker file. Alright, so first of all, let's create our Docker file. Okay, so now we have our Docker file. If I go inside this editor, you can see we do not have anything. Currently our Docker file is empty. We will write instructions in it, but let's understand what is use case of CMD instruction. So let's say if you want to create Docker file in such a way that as soon as you build your Docker image from the Docker file and you have created container of it, you want your project to run. So for that purpose, we will need to run some instructions. Okay, so let's say you have created your Node.js project and you want to run your index.js file as soon as your container launched. So in that case, how you can run your index.js file. So that's what we are going to learn in this video. So some of you might answer like we will use run command to run instructions inside your Docker container. But it's not the true. If you understand Docker run command carefully, run instruction will run commands by the time of creating your image. It will not run the commands when your container is launched. That is the difference between run instruction and CMD instruction. Run instructions run command by the time of building your Docker image, but CMD instructions runs the command when your container is launched. So you can say CMD instructions is nothing but your entry point. So as soon as your container launched, if you want to run any command, if you want to launch any executable, you can do that in your CMD instruction. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. First of all, let's create the scenario. So here I am creating index.js file, and inside this index.js file, I want to write some code. So let's say I'm gonna write simple JavaScript code. I will create simple interval. I want to run this interval after 2 seconds. Okay, and inside this interval I will simply put some console message, or let's say hello from index.js. Let's save this. So in order to run this index.js file, we will need some setup. So first thing we will need is Ubuntu image. So there are multiple ways to use it, but I'm gonna go with Ubuntu image, and I will use its latest version. Then I will use run instruction again because we want to install dependencies as we saw previously. So I will use apt get update. First of all, we will need to update our Ubuntu image, and then we will need to use apt get install Node.js instruction, and then I will pass -y in order to bypass all yes or no questions. Okay, and the next thing we will need to do here is we will need to copy this index.js file which is in our host, which is in our instance, into our Docker image. So how we can do that? We have already seen this copy instruction. I will use that. So I will simply use index.js, and in a second parameter I will simply pass dot because I want to copy this file in root folder of this Ubuntu image. Okay, and the next thing is important. So this CMD instruction is nothing but your JSON array. So in order to run our index.js file as soon as our Docker container will create, we will need to run our Node.js command. So we generally use node space index.js in order to run this index file. So that's what we will do here, but we can't pass entire command in one array, one value of this array. So first of all I will pass node, and then in second parameter I will pass file name like this. So let's try to understand what we have done here. So first of all, we have given instruction to fetch our base image. So we have used Ubuntu as our base image. Then on the top of this Ubuntu image, we have installed Node.js dependency. And in a third instruction, we have copied our source file inside our Docker image. Okay, and once it is available locally and once it is copied, we have simply given CMD instruction. Okay, so let's try to understand what is difference between run and CMD. So if you see here, this run command will execute these instructions by the time of creating the image, but the CMD instructions will get run when we will create container of that image. So let's see this in action first and then we will discuss more about it. So I have saved this. Let me increase its font size, clear this up. Okay, so let's create. So first of all, let's build image from this Docker file. So I will use docker build command. Then let's give it a tag, let's say img1, and then simply pass dot. Now it started creating our build. It will download Ubuntu image, then it will update our Ubuntu image, and then it will start installing our Node.js dependency. And finally, we have our Docker image ready. And let's use docker images command and let's see what all images we have locally available. As you can see here, we have our basic Ubuntu image, and the second image is nothing but our customized image, so which is img1. You can clearly see size difference between these two. Our customized image has more size because we have some dependencies installed in it. Okay, we have upgraded our Ubuntu image, we have installed Node.js, that's why our customized image has more size. Now let's try to create container of it. So I will simply use docker run command and I will use img1. Now as soon as I run it, you can see it started printing our messages every 2 seconds, and now it will keep on running and it will never stop. So as you can see, we have just created our Docker container which is running our code as soon as we launch it. Okay, now the obvious question you might ask, what if we write this CMD command multiple times? But one thing you need to understand, you cannot write multiple CMD commands in a same Docker file. It is because even if you try to write multiple CMD commands, only the command which is at the bottom will get run, and all these 3 commands will simply get ignored. Okay, so you always have to mention its CMD commands is slightly different than the run command. Run command will execute commands by the time of creating image, while at the other hand CMD command will run the command as soon as your container will get launched. You can write multiple run commands in a same Docker file, but you cannot write multiple CMD commands in a same Docker file. Okay, so that's the basic difference between run and CMD instructions. And I think that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.